Today is day 481 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor our company share or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. Be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Shin Ches, of course, Sif Chav Ches to Sif Lamed Vav. Chav Ches, Machat Shel Yad, a hand needle, which is a small needle with which one sews clothes, which basically is our typical sewing needle. You're allowed to move it in order to remove a splinter. Then Klisha Machtul Isser, as any Klisha Machtul Isser is the mutter Torgufa, you're allowed to move it for using it itself within some mutter. And of course, you're allowed to move the sewing needle if you need its place. You need to sit down in a chair and there's a sewing needle there. But it's only if it's a whole needle. I mean, but if its point is missing, a choshla or the hole which you put the thread, also that's forbidden. Even though it's the eye of the needle is removed, you're still allowed to. You still can, not you're still allowed. You still can use it to remove a splinter. The Gemara said for two reasons you still can't move it. Achas, one, nation is battling clearly on tuma, because it's no longer a keli in terms of tuma. It's what's broken keli, broken keli is tar. But I mean, Shabbos, and it's kind of like amigos. Since it's battling in tuma, it's battling in Shabbos. But the primary reason is mishum the kashanita when the point or the eye is missing. Adam Zarko Ben a person tosses it among his broken vessels. And he said the is keli. So a person himself negates its status as a vessel. Okay, it was not like a broken kli, which you can carry, which one is suitable for usage. What if it's a new needle which hasn't yet been pierced, has no eye? Allowed to move it. Sometimes you will leave it that way, kind of like a hat pin where there is no hole, obviously. But this is designated to for a splinter removal instrument. The Daishan became Perkimul Shanino Sham. It says there Machat Shanita Charira Okta. If you have a needle which has no eye nor either no eye or nor point, Tahira, it's Tahar. If you, however, designated to stretch garments, you talk up Godim, Tameo. It's Tommy. In terms of that would be a leniency, obviously, because there's a machat shenitau charir oksa. The point has been, or the eye has been removed, and you designate it to stretch garments. It's Tommy. In Shabbasu benita lachor. That's but only if the eye is removed. If the eye is removed, so you can still designate it. If you deliberately designate it to remove a splinter. But if the point is missing, it's not suitable to remove remove a splinter. So I'm not sure if you did designate it though to stretch your clothes. Then to also be again a klisha maktul iser. And you should be allowed to remove the tzarku from coma. And Mr. Burtaka says if you took off the point or the eye was removed, it loses the shenkeli. But if you're miyached for any usage, it's a keli and you're allowed to move it. So that seems to be the case. I'm not sure that Arukh HaShulchan does not entertain that possibility. In the brackets he says here, but nearly whatever it says there, the whole needle. It's supposed to say it's talking about a needle with an eye. The reason why it's we don't have to mention a hand needle is because there is the needle which is used in order to sew together very large pieces of sack, I think leather. If it's very large, you can't use it for removing a splinter of asur tilta. It's also to carry such a large needle. Bir halacha is that which the mechaber did not bring down this halacha about the very large needle, which you can use to open a door. Evidently, because this is generically included in the overall pinto likshem lachto leisser, that you can use it l'tzarach gufo. Chavtes. Bizman Gemara has the Gemara Yoshim Machlotsos. They used to sit on mats. So therefore, if you have mats which got worn out and you have the leftover parts thereof, even though you can't sit on them, become mutter. Nevertheless, it's permitted to move them. They still don't lose the same kelim. They should ruin that as a tinuf, because even though you can't sit on them anymore, you can still use them to cover some refuse. I feel even if they're so small, they don't have the shear of tuma, which is 3 by 3. Nevertheless, like a keli, which is used for permitted purposes, you'll have to move them even from sun to shade. But if you toss them to the garbage from before Shabbos began, also you're not allowed to move them. Just like any other broken vessel, which you toss into the garbage. Rarely, it seems to me that our countries, most mats are not used for sitting or for lying. Mostly used for merchandise. I guess you put the merchandise on those mats. So they're mats for merchandise. They're also muktzah because they're used for merchandise, which is itself muktzah. You can't move this you only move it l'tzarach gufo or makomo. You can't use it for move it for any other purpose. And if you have worn out mats in our day and age, the gram b'stama, we see that also b'stama have a gazorkim ashba. We just assume that even if you didn't throw them to the garbage, they are garbage at this point. So therefore they seem to be usher altogether, just like pebbles and stones. Then before Shabbos began, for some permissible use. When you claim tashmish iser, there's name for forbidden use, then dino klishu lachtel iser. Then the law of these things be like klishu lachtel iser. The mutar tzar gom homo. They'll have to do it for their own purpose and for their place. Little macham itself, not from sun to shade. And then he says, "Yekeneli dirty boru, bedine machzelos v'shyoreh." Lamed, matlonios, the rags, shmatas, which are left worn out clothes. If there isn't in any one of the pieces 3 etzbos, al shalosh etzbos by 3 etzbos, which is the shear of minimum shear for tuma. Shezer shear achron tuma, the minimum shear. Also, talmud now let's move them because they're not even suitable for poor people who would use small patches. These bottom doors keli, they're no longer considered keli. If they're 3 by 3 etzbos, imam shalani, if they belong to a poor person, would turn too low. He and any other poor person carry them. Because they leave them around to make a patch on their garments. It's like leftovers vessels. In other words, vessels which are the remnants thereof are still exist. Shvil is attached which is suitable for some purpose. They're allowed to be moved for their place, their substance and their place. For their usage in their place. But rich people can't carry them, move them, and unless the rags are at least 3 by 3 tvachim. Then they're significant even for rich people. So if a rich person's worn out garment and it's less than 3 by 3 tvachim, then have a muksa aflanim. Since it belongs to a rich person, it's muksa even for a poor person. Because the owner has set them aside. And if they're thrown into garbage, no matter what, you're not allowed to move them. Sharativ is not sure about this when they're 3 by 3 tvachim. That's interesting. That's because it's so significant that it's not going to be butter just by tossing the garbage. And that's what he says here. Beged shalem. Roshun says if it's a whole garment, or kli shlema, or a whole vessel, which you threw into the garbage. We're talking until you have to move them. The bottle right, it's a you did a foolish thing. We're not going to redefine our definition of what's suitable for use based on your foolish activity. Of a da'ish know that the shochin nigracha ba'bayis b'pratim elu. A neighbor is I'm not even sure neighbor or tenant here, but tenant would make more sense. But the neighbor is, let's see, the neighbor is the status. Neighbor's status vis-a-vis an object is defined by the balabas status. Some say the b'chol begadim in all of those, in all garments. Avshalon ishtaru bohem shalosh al shalosh mutar tiltu. Even though they're not 3 by 3, you're allowed to move them. The fish shehem ru'im achasben davar mamos, because you can use them to cover something disgusting. Shurim elu, and these shurim heim betalisa shel mitzvah shabalu. This is by talis shel mitzvah, which got worn out. Asum matashit baz, you can't use for a degraded purpose. Bigger dairy shor, the primary halach is like the first opinion. They always need to have these shurim. This is the intimation of the language of the Shas. That they can be used for some degraded use. Would not make given the status of a keli. But if you designate them from before Shabbos began for somebody to use, even a degraded one, then it's okay no matter what. That's simple to understand. This is the form on which you would make a shoe. Have a machlis, it's for obviously for a prohibited use for a prohibited purpose. You can move it for its own use or it fits space's use. So therefore, if you have a shoe, whether it's a new shoe or an old shoe, where the form is inserted into it, when it's tight, you can remove it. Whether you remove the form from inside the shoe, you remove the shoe from the form. This is because you need the space. Meaning, you need the the inner cavity of the shoe in which the form is sitting. Because you need to put on the shoe. It's also allowed to move the form for its own purpose. You need to use the form to cover a vessel, etc. Like any other kli shel so therefore to bring it inside for its own purpose. Such if it's raining on it, or if it's in the sun, you're not allowed to move it. Unless you have in mind when you move it to use it for some permitted purpose. As said previously. I think can't just like any other cliche malachta l'isser. The Bir Halacha says that based on what Shulchan Aruch says in Siman Shin Gimel, that a woman's not allowed to wear a new shoe on Shabbos when she didn't try to walk in from yesterday, and even in the house some people are machmir not to wear the new shoes. It's possible that she can't remove the new shoe from on the form, unless she needs the shoe itself for its gufo makomo, but not for wearing because she doesn't wear it unless it's checked out, like any klisha malachta l'isser. So we're talking about a new shoe where the shoe is available for wearing, otherwise, or reasonable to assume you're going to wear it, otherwise it can indeed be problematic. Lamed base has sandalim shalanu, our sandals. Av osam sheish lemutzos, even those which have straps. You're allowed to carry them. I'm sorry, I skipped an important point here. Even though they have straps and the straps got severed, you're still allowed to move them. Because you didn't put them on, also without the straps. Because they retain the status of kli no matter what. The near at least, says it seems to me to mean only with sandalim shalonu, our shoes and sandals. Even if they're ripped on top or bottom or from the sides, if they still could be put on in some way, shape, or form, we're allowed to move them. But if most of the shoe is torn, the person would be embarrassed to wear such a shoe out. Do you know Kashir Kalim? It's like a broken vessel. Shem Mulim Tash Cloud, not suitable for use at all. If you don't consider some like pebbles and stones, Shem Muksim Lagami, which are entirely Mukseh. But soon if you can move them for the purpose of their own purpose and for the purpose of their space, because they are the severe level of Muktzah. But this is not relevant to 3 by 3 shurim, which you discussed hitherto. That's only talking about soft items like clothing. And so do socks and pants and all sorts of clothing. I've only noticed that not only but shoes and sandals, shem kashim, which are hard. And we're not going to use them to cover a vessel of food because they are disgusting. So therefore, if they are unusable shoes, you can't move them. The bracket says here, what about a studded sandal which you're not allowed to wear on Shabbos? You're allowed to move with chasus PP keli. You can move it to studded with nails. You're allowed to move it for the purpose of covering a vessel. And a cushion, that's not the shon gam chalish the leka misusa asur. You're not allowed to wear it no matter what there, because even if it's not disgusting, because now it's wearing Shabbos. I guess there it says that you're not allowed to move it chasus pikeli, because it's usher to move them on Shabbos, even if it's new and it's not disgusting, and it's not suitable for another purpose, something along those lines, because we know you're not allowed to wear a nailed sandal on Shabbos. Lama Gimel. The sandals there at the times of the Gemara, they have a different halacha because they look different. They could not be put on without the straps. Couldn't wear them without the straps. They had 2 straps sewn on either side. One of them on the outside, one to the inside of the sandal. They wrap one on the other and walk in them. If the both of the straps were severed, but let me tell us keli. The shoe no longer is a keli, it's like a broken keli, which is not suitable for anything. Even if only one got torn, if the inner one got torn, which is permissible, because somehow you can fix it and wear it ad hoc in that situation. It's called such a side of where the one facing the outside becomes severed. Now to move it. If you fix it, you spoil it's seen by everybody, and it's going to be degrading, and they're going to mock him. But let me tell us keli, and therefore it's no longer considered a keli. Lamadal. So, but how do you fix the sandal on Shabbos? Well, it's not misaking mono. It's you're fixing something, right? This is what I'm saying. If it got torn when he's walking in a carmelis, in other words, the place us to carry midrabanan. Mutal told Gemi Lach Royal Machal Behem could take a soft type of what's the word we're looking for? Fiber, and which is suitable for an animal to eat. Shemut Matilton, they're allowed to move it. The korcha sandal, and you wrap it on the sandal. The kosher, and you tie it, put them on the raglan, they shouldn't fall off his leg. I have a chuta mashira, but a string of some sort. Also, it's surely kroch. Now we have to tie it there and wrap it around. Because now you're going to leave it there permanently. So it's like a permanent fix. So he made a permanent knot, which is Lashon Shabbos. About Gemi, but the fiber, Shabbos. This fibrous is a fibrous plant of some sort. You're going to remove it after Shabbos, but people don't walk normally that way. And even this soft fibrous plant strand is only mutter in a carmelis. Because you can't hide the shoe there lest people come to steal it. and to move it from the Carmelist to a courtyard, since Carmelist is just around the Rabbanan, you can't do, so they allowed you to use the Gemi. But it got torn in the courtyard, or Makashulta Tiltar, any place you can move it, you can put it in a safe place, Gam Gemi also. You can't move it, you can't even fix it with this strand of plant. Then just apply it. The only thing Arukh HaShulchan says, it seems to me that if he has no other shoe or sandal, then you can fix it with the Gemi no matter where you find yourself. Only just Rabbi can't do this. After the Gemi is so Arba Amos, even the Gemi is only less than 4 Amos away. The Kashin Shemil Chutz Arba Amos, because you might take it outside Talad Amos. Of a Carmelist Rabbanan, look at above. It's the Carmelist, which is only Rabbanan, we're not concerned. But nobody bought to make a slip knot, mutar gam b'chutim shichu, that's okay, even by a string. Which the Buddha says that even if you don't fix it, the shoe, if there are any people in the chutzner and it's degrading for them to go without a shoe, you're allowed to keep the shoe on because it covered up rios. Okay? Laminate. Cholok should kafsu also a robe which was laundered before Shabbos. Lu Yabshah, they kind of you hung it up to dry. Shinos l'akam b'sola chaluk. They put they put it up on a stick which they put inside the garment. Flubo erev Shabbos, and they hang it by that stick from erev Shabbos. And the stick was not designated for this purpose. It's not designated now either. It's the man's book says it was previously. The Yichdul Kach with designated for this already Nasa left Teres Keli. It would be considered having Teres Keli. The status of a vessel. Designated for this, then Kates and only men are going to take the robe off without moving that muktzah stick. Cannot remove the robe from the stick, not the stick from the robe. That we are not carrying the stick. We're not allowed to take the stick out of the robe. What about the shoe form which you learned about? That's different. That fus Torah's Keliolov. The fus, the form has the status of a vessel. It's not to listen. Just simply not to listen. We can move it for its space. Mashing in a cut as opposed to the stick. Who muktzah gamrish ain't okay. It's completely muktzah. It's not a vessel. Cloud. I've also got coming now to move in for its space. Feeling tough will go keli. So if you hung it out to dry on a vessel, I feel the shemachtel iser, even as a vessel which is normally used for prohibited purposes, yochli tell can be told and take the vessel out of it. Come out fushamel, just like the form of a shoe. Mr. Bura says that this talking about where we're talking about where the cloak was somewhat dry from before Shabbos, because if it was totally moist from before Banish Moshos, we know that the garment becomes also for all of Shabbos, because me and this Katzai Banish Moshos, Katzai L'Kuli Yoima. This was Muktzah Banish Moshos, was totally wet. Unwearable is Muktzah for the entire day. Lamed Vav, Kira, Shenish B'ta Achas Miyachoseh. If you have an oven, and one of its it has a tripod. It's not an oven; it's a stove. It has a tripod, and one of its piece of tripod got removed. I am to put in shlaslikin ragline those things that hold the pot, which are like little legs. Also, you're not allowed to move that kira, that oven, for the purpose of its space and its own use. Even though Klisha Machlis you're not allowed to move for the purpose of its use or its space. And the fact that it lost one of the pieces of the tripod doesn't negate a shame keli. Nevertheless, that's for another reason. Because you might come to plug them back together again, which is in which case, maybe you put the leg back, you're going to be closer, and you put it back strenuously, and in that case, it's binim bekalim. But I forgot there ain't binim bekalim. Normally, those say there is no binim bekalim. Nevertheless, binim a gomor, like a real building like this, where you're shoving it tight, is also kamach kaso b'sim and shin gimel. Also, regardless of it's the rights of the rabban, it's certainly also the rabban. It's not a gzeir, but the rabban ourselves go see them because But Xera is on something which is likely you're going to do. We make such Xera. Also, put back the put would be like a makabeh patish. Shugmar malacha, because you're completing the work on the portable stove. Mishnah actually tries and it brings down the Arukh HaMeir. They say that if two of the legs of the tripod were snapped off or broken off or somehow, then has no status as a keli anymore whatsoever.